Loss on YouTube, $22,158.
Yeah.
You're giving basically the viewer money at this point. It's like they're getting more value than you are for doing all the work.
With over 10 million followers across platforms, Graham is the most subscribed finance YouTuber in the world. And in the next few minutes, he's about to reveal some of my deepest financial secrets.
Break even on it, walk away. Roman, welcome to your own channel.
Yes. Thank you for having me on my channel.
Yeah, this is crazy for me to be on this side because I've seen your channel. I've reacted to one of your videos before. Obviously, I've audited Caleb. This was like a year and a half ago. So you're next. You're the next victim.
Quite a weighted video that I know some people have been looking for, but I'm excited to do it with you. I think today we're going to reveal quite a bit of things.
Yeah, you seem really nervous right now.
Man, like it's, you know, I guess it's fun to be on this side of the table now.
Okay, why are you nervous?
I don't know. This is a video that I've been wanting to do for a while. But somehow, you know, it's not always easy to find the courage so I can see what people put themselves out there.
Okay, well, before we go into this, I've not even seen any of this, by the way. You wanted to, prep me a little bit in advance. I'm like, no, let's just get right to it. What is your goal? What do you want?
You have great experience when it comes to YouTube, but I want to also see your experience when it comes to kind of finances. I always have a take on others people, and I think right now is a good way for us to get a take on my finances, see if in your eyes, I'm also optimized in some aspects.
Okay. Well, I think the finance is only going to be half of it because the other half I'm going to ream into you on some other stuff, okay? So to me, this is like, this is the easy part. So we got some assets here. Checking, almost $8,000 in checking. That's fine. High yield saving, great. Real estate, $108,000 of real estate. I didn't know you own real estate. What do you want? What do you do in real estate?
So a couple of years ago, I wanted to expose myself into the world of Airbnb. And I decided to invest into an Airstream, 1974 Sovereign, bought it for $44,000, invested an extra $22,000 into it, total cost $66,000 on that one. And then I found a partner to put it in Arizona to run it as an Airbnb. And results have been mild. We'll see that when we speak about my income. But yeah, that was quite of an investment.
So where do you come up with 108?
So I have this Airstream that's valued at about 75 or so. And then I have two other investments that are hard money lending. One for a property in Ohio at a 15% return. Payment have been ongoing for 6 months or so. Not bad. Huh? Risky investment. And another one in Florida. We are making a flip. And I'm just a hard money lender, kind of lending that money. Also a little bit more than $15,000 on this one too, paying at 15% interest. I'm not getting any of those rates as hard money lending anymore.
How is someone borrowing from you $15,000 on a flip? Like, why? It seems like it's not even worth their trouble to borrow $15,000. Like, I would be concerned if someone's like, hey, let me borrow $15,000 buying a flip. To me, that's like red flags galore. If you need to borrow $15,000, it's probably not good that we're a partner.
No, that's fair. I think those are pretty much test investments. I'm testing different companies or just individuals that are in the space. And I don't want to put myself too much out there. So actually one is 25 and the other is 15.
Listen, I'd be very careful on that. To me, I wouldn't even consider it unless you really understand what you're doing, really trust the guy, or you get like a significant amount of collateral. Because I see that as like doing a test investment. I'm like, okay, he'll pay you back on the 15 and then he'll ask you for 100 and just walk away from that. So like I'd be super careful on any lending. Yeah, super careful.
I think that's fair. My experience so far has been pretty good. We've done a couple of investments. One with them that was at $50,000 turned out to be good. And then I came a little bit lower on it. But yeah, that was risky grounds. I don't know if
You're going to the casino and you're rolling well so far. But I'm just going to tell you, one of these times with hard money lending, you're going to roll and you're going to crap out.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. Hopefully not.
Fair.
Hopefully not. But just a very risky investment. The Airbnb, what's the return you're getting on that?
Okay, so Airbnb, 66 total invested. So far, my return has been around 12%. So, I mean, not as nice as you would expect, So
it's fair.
Yeah, but I mean, $7,000, $8,000 of true return, not revenue, because I'm paying, the cleaning fees and linen and management on site and all of that.
Yeah.
Now, what's nice about it is I am owner absent. I barely touch it, Graham. I'm literally on a call 2 hours every quarter and just kind of like taking that call and see, okay, how we've been doing.
Yeah.
Oh, how is seasonality? What are we going to do with this?
Okay.
And I think
It's not
I'm
bad.
going to put it on sale, I think, soon. I have a potential buyer, actually. on
Yeah.
this.
Listen, if you're getting 12% right now in real estate, it's not terrible. It's not the worst thing in the world. The only issue I see with that is that it's not leveraged. Usually with real estate, you get a higher return if you're leveraging a little bit. Listen, that's not the worst thing in the world. I'm more worried about you lending money to people as a hard money lender. That's way riskier.
Have you ever done it?
No.
Why not?
I don't need to.
What do you mean by that?
I just don't need to. I don't need to take the risk. to
What-
do
what-
that.
so
Like,
if-
listen, I'd much rather earn 3% safely than try to earn 10% and something risky. But that's where I'm at a different spot. Like I don't need to do risky investments. Maybe except for Bitcoin.
I mean, Bitcoin at this time that we're speaking, $82,000 this morning. Let's go.
It could be up or down by the time you post this. Then we got a car, $27,000 car.
Yeah, I bought it for 22. Let's go.
That's worth more.
Yeah.
Good.
It's a Ford Maverick. I waited 2 years on it. There is a little bit of debt on that.
Okay.
But it's one of the only car that I've gotten that has appreciated over time.
That's fine. Collectible 5,000, treasury, okay, brokerage, Roth IRA, traditional IRA. Total 365. That's fine. Let's see. We got assets, business. Okay, real estate, checking, goods. I mean, listen, your finances are fine. Now, what's this? Oh, here we go. The fun fact. The not so fun fact. Loss on YouTube, $22,158.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys have seen this channel, you guys know that this has been quite of an investment. So far on the channel, we've invested over $55,000 on this.
How have you invested 55 grand?
Well,
Break
I
that
mean,
down. That's too much.
Yeah, I mean, we've taken some shots. A lot of the ballpark is going to be in kind of editing. And then the thing about it is, for the first couple months, you're running off nothing. Like, you have no sponsors, you have difficult views generally. Just recently, we've started to actually make a little bit of money. We're breaking even on the channel. For the full duration of the channel, we've made about $39,000 so far. 18,000 of which was over the course of the past 3 months. So that's a little bit reassuring that things are growing, which is nice. We're not just running this channel for the money, but we still need to balance the books. I mean, when the time that it takes and so on.
Because I bet editing is a significant cost of that. And if you're not making money and you're posting, once or twice a week,
Yeah.
I would assume that you would have the time to just edit yourself.
Well, I mean, you will see, Graham, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or so streams of income. So YouTube at some time was part of my side hustle. Now it's become more and more, taking place in time. But I couldn't. I mean, I'm managing casting, I'm managing production, I'm making calls, I have to do the thumbnails, and some of the shorts and so on. So
Yeah.
I know that you do your own edits
I
for
do.
many of your videos. I praise you for that. Look, I can see that. I just don't. I rather invest my time in things that maybe passion me a little bit more than the edits. But that doesn't mean that I don't get involved. Every video that you guys are watching, we go through 3 stages of editing just to make sure that things are nice. But about 50% of you watching are not subscribed to the channel. And as you know, we are all about changing people's life. In fact, 43 individuals this year that have come to the show have significantly improved their financial situations. If you want to be part of the journey and support us, my goal is to reach 50,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Can we make it happen? I count on you. So click subscribe right below.
What's the hardest part about running this operation on YouTube?
It is true that when I compare to some of my competition, you think sometimes that things are going to run a little bit faster than you expect. At some point, I was cranking Amazon full time, YouTube on the side as well, 80 hours a week. And I remember at the end of last year, we were going down, we just couldn't get out no matter what we were doing on some of our videos. And I remember going on the community post and saying, all right, guys, this is it. Thank you. It was a pleasure. And I closed YouTube, didn't open it for 5 days, posted a video. Until the last moment, I didn't even want to post that video. I was like, all right, let's just go for it. And 5 days later, I opened the app, 150,000 views. That was the proof of concept, right at the moment at which we were going to, be like, all right, that was a good venture, but I just can't allocate the funds, the time, and just things are, not working as fast as we would have want.
Yeah, it's funny. Darman said the exact same thing. I interviewed him on my channel, and he was talking about his journey on Facebook. And he said that he was about to quit. He had no money whatsoever, and he posted one video and said, basically, this is it. If this video doesn't hit, I'm done. This is a sign. And that video ended up getting like 20 million views overnight. Yeah. And that was his proof that, like, okay, there is an audience for this. I'm not doing this for nothing. This is a sign from above that I need to go and do this. And he did.
Yeah.
He made something incredible from it. Every channel that I've seen that's really made something significant hasn't invested in their channel. Like, I'll be honest, like every channel that I have seen does the bare minimum and just reinvest whatever they make. Like, they're not out of money. Like, YouTube is, in my opinion, one of the simplest ways to make a significant amount of money with zero investment. As long as you have my first 30,000 subscribers are from my iPhone. I spent nothing. I literally just held up an iPhone, or I would put an iPhone on a shelf, put a cup in front of it so it wouldn't like topple over. Take a light, like any random light, and just put it there for lighting my face, and I would just talk to my iPhone. Edit on iMovie for free. Built up that. And then when I started actually making money, I just bought a camera. I bought some actual lighting equipment, like a ring light. And then I just kept making money from that. So it's like spending a lot of money in the beginning, I think, is one of the worst things you can do. Now, it can work for the basics, but beyond like a camera, good audio, some decent lighting, like that's all you need.
But wait,
Yeah.
I understand, Graham, but you started 7-8 years ago. I feel like the competition in the environment has been more fierce. Like,
Yes and no. So back then I thought it was too late to start. Like,
oh, you did?
Oh gosh, yeah. I thought it was over for making a YouTube channel, honestly. Because, first of all, no one cared about finance at the time. Everyone just cared about pranks, vlogs, social experiments. Like, that's what was really hitting on YouTube. There was zero desire for finance content. So, like, if anything, I think people appreciated the authenticity, that it's not some big production, it's not a huge team. It's just like, it's a dude in his house making videos. Like, if this is all you have, you should be able to turn this in like $8,000 a month. Just with what you have here, zero overhead.
Over the
with your time.
course of the past 3 months, 18,000. So things are progressing.
Yeah.
Again, we're not just doing this for money. I don't want to be pictured this way.
You gotta make money from this. You gotta
Yeah.
find a way to monetize better, because otherwise the alternative is you just don't make content. So it's either the audience doesn't get anything, or you find a way to monetize a little bit better, find a way to pique more interest to be able to keep the train going. Because a lot of people I don't want to say they appreciate or they take for granted all the work and time that you put into this. That the fact that you've spent $20-something thousand, you've lost $22,000 on this channel just so the viewer right now could sit there for free and watch a video from you. You're giving basically the viewer money at this point. You're paying them to watch the videos. Like, they're getting more value than you are for doing all the work. So you got to find a way to balance it where you could still provide value but receive something in return. So we'll go into that a little later, because I have some ideas to run by you. But the next one, I don't like this either. Another loss. I love these losses, man.
There's some positive too.
Loss on Frenchie. Loss on Frenchie. What? Explain this.
So you have to understand. I was at some point at Amazon in the Every Tower at Seattle, last floor. A couple of doors from some of the pretty high executives there. Money was great. I was making about $220,000 per year. Things were looking nice. The house, the dog, the fiancé, the car. Things were absolutely amazing on paper, but happiness-wise, absolutely, completely miserable. And so I took a book and I wrote 38 ideas on things that I could do. Could I build a pool cleaning company, a roofing company, a service, rent cars on Turo? What about rental? What about Airbnb and all of that? Anyway, so when I thought about those different ideas, I didn't really have as much experience with e-commerce, okay? And if I'm doing things, I try to do them as best as I can, Graham. So We decided with my partner to invest into this French brand, which is, you guys can actually get some online that we've been putting them in videos. Graham, you've also had some.
Macy wears hers all the time.
So build a website, $10,000.
$10,000 on a website?
Yeah.
How? How do you spend $10,000
Well, I mean,
on a
there
website?
is a mix. It's a $10,000 mix between website and email marketing. We've gone a pretty good amount of
How do you
orders.
spend $10,000? The website should be a few $100s.
Yeah, but we wanted to do things as nice as
You make an Etsy store for free.
you learn by mistakes too, right? So
No, but this is an easily avoidable mistake. It's just like, hey, don't put your hand on a hot stove, right? It's like, okay, when you're 3, you could make that mistake, but not when you're in your 20s, 30s. These are mistakes that are so avoidable that you could have gone anywhere and just been like, let's do it for free to test proof of. I'm a big fan of free first. We're doing everything for free until we start making money, and then you reinvest. You're not spending money to make money. You're doing it free, test concept, reinvest profits.
in my ways, there is also no way you can make money without investing money. I mean, yes, maybe in the world of YouTube and so on, but I still feel that, some investments are worth it now. We've seen ourselves progressing on it, so things are looking up right, a lot of which as well is inventory. So, and on top of the website, there was also ads, email marketing, and so on. So it was a full package.
You have the best platform here. Again, I wouldn't spend anything on ads. You get free advertisement from the channel. You could just say, hey, I came out with this. If you want to support the channel, I've lost $22,000 on it so far. This is really cool. I lost $21,000 on this. If you buy this, you'll help offset the loss of the other one, and so I get half the loss, and you get a cool, memento for the channel. Like, this is free marketing. And then what I'd say, I have an Etsy store down below. You could go to the Etsy store, which I made for free, and I bought 200 of these things out of pocket to test the concept. Once those 200 are sold, they're going to be gone, but at least I know it's a proof of concept, and I'll order the next gen. I'll order another one, but they're not going to be the same as these first 200. That's what I would do. Sell out of the 200. Now you know there's a market for it. Now you know that you have free marketing. Now you know that an Etsy store is going to work with, I hope everyone gives a 5-star review. Then you order 500. And you say, okay, 500 of these ones. And you keep testing. Instead of ordering a whole bunch of bulk and then like money and money and money, it's, I'm in this train of thought that you don't have to spend anything. Like, I'm all about doing things for free. Like the coffee, I came with my coffee in my own cup, so I didn't have to spend money on that. Anything I don't have to spend money on, I don't spend money on it.
That's fair. That's fair. Although I must say we are turning some great profit monthly right now. Nothing crazy, but just $1,000.
I see that number.
Yeah.
I see anything in parentheses here. I don't like on this sheet because then I know it's a loss. The thing is, it's like I care so much that I don't want you to lose money.
You
like
want to invest in Frenchie?
No, I don't want to lose money too. It's like you're drowning and I'm going to come save you, but you're gonna pull me down with you, man. It's like then we're both going to be out of luck here. Like someone's got to stay over and throw you a life raft. That's all it is. I don't want to see these anymore. So hopefully from this day forward, everything you do from today on, you should be pumped about this, is going to be profitable.
Yes,
That's
fair.
Everything. So today is a turning point. Today is the day where you're going to start pulling in profits. Getting rid of parentheses on this sheet. Everything else is good. Brokerage return, fantastic. Credit cards. See, I know you're going to be good at the money stuff. So it's like I don't need to spend that much time on here. Car loan is fine. Student loan, 2.8%.
Yeah, that was
reason
private.
to pay that. The car loan at 6.4%. Not the end of the world. To me, I'd probably just chip away at it. I'd probably pay that off sooner than later because I look at a 6.4%. If you're able to write that off as a business expense, then it kind of makes sense. If you're not able to do that, I would just chip that away as fast as possible. But overall,
you would pay a debt that's 6.4 nowadays?
Yeah, for me, I'd feel comfortable paying anything off above 5.5%, 5%. I'd just get rid of it because I look at the historical return of the S&P 500.
Yep.
Historically, that's about 8% after inflation. And that's with taking a risk. And that's before tax too. So after tax is, 5-6%, depending on the tax bracket. If you're low enough, you get to keep the whole thing. But I look at this and I'm saying, well, you get a guaranteed 6.4%, guaranteed immediately, versus taking an 8% before tax, risking it in the market. So you could either get double, you could get way less. So I'd rather take the guaranteed 6.4.
That's fair.
For me, that's higher than a treasury. That's higher than a savings account. That's higher than a lot of things. So for me, and for 12 grand, you have enough. And like your high yield savings, I might chip away at that a little more. But again, that's just personal preference. If you keep it, it's not the end of the world. We're splitting hairs here. Your expenses, rent is fantastic price for what you're paying.
Yes.
Fantastic.
That is including utilities, my friend. 27% of my income.
Insane. Phone is fantastic. Car is fine. Gas is fine. Insurance, communication, food. See, all of this is, you're good with money. It's just, you're bad with turning a profit. That's what it is.
I'm bad with turning a profit on early businesses.
Okay.
Okay, you want me to tell you about a more recent business that actually has been doing absolutely crazy recently?
Tell me about it. I think I know what it is, and I'm very happy for you on this one.
All right. So when we built Frenchie, we opened a little shop, brick and mortar, I know on some of your interviews, you always kind of say, don't open a brick and mortar. Well, we wanted to learn our lesson. And what I did is when I opened that, I had kind of wood panels on the side, to make this a little bit more fancy. And I never wanted to pay the full price on Facebook Marketplace, neither online. And so what I did is I bought a pallet from China that had 44 units in it of wood panels. My cost per panel, $50. Instead, online it's $190, and on Facebook Marketplace it's $130. And I was like, okay, let me just buy some to put it in the brick and mortar and sell the others on Facebook Marketplace. My friend, I sold it in 1 week. 22 units. I did $1,000 in 1 week like this. And I was like, hold on. Something's going on here. Maybe I should invest more. I buy 44 again. Sold in 2 weeks. I buy 94. Sold. My friend, I have sold for over $45,000 of wood panels.
What's your profit on that?
56%.
So you made almost 30 grand, 20 something.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Now I could attest to this, by the way, because you convinced me to put those panels in our bedroom. Yes. And I was impressed. You came to me immediately. What's funny is that I was kind of joking around and saying, oh yeah, I could do the panels. And within an hour, you're like, I could deliver them now.
That's the thing.
I was like, I didn't expect that. And I said, okay. And we ended up putting it up. It took a few hours to do it, but I put them in the wall myself. I had someone helping me cut them, but I put them on the wall myself. Really easy. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, the goal was how fast can I get out of Amazon? Because you have to think, for most of this year, I'm still working on Amazon full time, managing YouTube, managing the different other business that we'll be speaking about. And I was like, all right, what can I do? So I've been selling on Facebook Marketplace. Wow. We have a little Instagram website and so on. And I even built an LLC for it.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about kind of, building those side hustles and stuff, I think that after a certain threshold, to me, I kind of always want to go into the LLC route just to make sure that things are good. Mm-hmm. Speaking of LLC, I don't know if you had some of those issues, but for some of my companies, sometimes it's been kind of madness to go through all the paperwork, the formation, making sure you're doing things right. And I don't know if you're familiar with this company. I've been using them myself for a couple of my own companies. They're called LLC Attorney. If you guys are even at home wanting to kind of build an LLC or, really register your business the right way, your side hustle, that's the company that I use. And they pretty much do everything for you, from registering your company, doing all of the paperwork, registered agents. If you have a DBA, if you want to convert into a corporation or an S Corp, they help you out through the whole process. I also was able to actually use paralegals for free that helped me out through the process. So I was making sure that I was compliant, doing everything right. And on top of that, if you are also interested in kind of speaking with an attorney, they make it super easy so that you're making sure things are done the right way. Guys, LLC Attorney is the sponsor of this video. I have been able to work with them to get you guys something very special, 100% of the formation fee. It's on them. They waive it. This is a channel special. You have to use the link below. But in general, this has been my go-to when it comes to building my LLC. So I built an LLC for it. We are running on it. And I'm thinking about even expanding with buying a container for it. Though the investment is $54,000.
Here's what I don't get, okay? You did this correctly. You proved my point perfectly that all of a sudden you did something with very little investment. You sold it for free. You didn't build a $10,000 website, and you actually made a profit. So when you did things the way that I suggested in the beginning, you're making money doing that. But you would know very quickly you wouldn't have invested all the money if you didn't have the proof of concept initially. So like that's the way to do it. I'll tell you the downside to this business is that you're reselling a product. Competition is going to be fierce on that. You don't manufacture your own, your own panel. Yeah. So you're really at the whims of, I think, selling locally. And there's only so many people before you start exhausting how many people need wood panels. I think this is a business that is really good. I don't know how long it's going to last. So I would go like pedal to the metal on this as long as it is making money. But I do think that that's something without a lot of longevity. You're not going to get a lot of repeat customers. You might get quite a bit from word of mouth, but when people start realizing like, hey, it's really profitable to sell these wooden wall panels, it's going to be, you'll start to notice like people are undercutting you a little bit and undercutting you. And then there's going to get to a point where you're going to say, all right, I've done as much as I can on this. I think it's a great business now. I don't know how long it would be good for. But I'm like, hey, well, the going's good. You may as well make the most of it. I do like the business.
I appreciate my overhead is zero.
That's the way it should be. So I approve of this, but just realize that there's going to be a time where you got to cut the head off the chicken, off this business.
That's fair.
Fair. But I don't know whether that could be a few years. It could be 6 months. It could be 5 years. I don't know. But
I'm going to be running it. Give me those 56% margins.
Yeah, but I like it. I like it a lot. Income's great from a whole bunch of different sources. You still have a W-2. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's my expected full year income for this year, about $198,000. $70,000 of which was my W-2 for some part of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then that's not going to be that's not so
that's
okay.
it.
So minus $70K for next year.
Yeah.
So hopefully YouTube could offset that.
That's the goal.
Okay. Otherwise, yeah, everything is fine here. All right. So total assets, we got $365,000. Then we have debt, $41,696. Net worth, $413,000. It's very good. And then we got income, total $197,868.
That's right.
Let's see. Then we got treasuries, crypto, $4,900. What's the crypto meme coins?
Yeah, not that much. Coins. Just a little bit of hands into. It's like less than $1,000 into meme coins.
Yeah, $823.
I like to have skin in the game in crypto, although I must say, I didn't have diamond hands on the elections, though. I frightened a little bit a couple days before. Sold a little bit of my positions, not as much.
None of this matters. When you have parentheses on a balance sheet, that's what matters. So what are you doing to make more money? That's the thing. You got to make money. How are you going to make money?
All right. So Airbnb was good, but it's not giving me the returns that I'm hoping. We have also 100 reviews already after running it for 1 year on Airbnb. We're one of the top ranked in the city. Well, your maintenance on a 50 years old trailer, that can run you down. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. It's not like I'm gaining appreciation. I'm getting a little bit of assets appreciation, but it's balanced out by the maintenance. So I'm trying to get out of the Airbnb game. Okay. Frenchie. Well, Frenchie is working good. It has about a couple thousands of revenue per month. Profit-wise, we're not turning as much because we are still on a loss, as you say.
Yeah, here's what I would do for Frenchie. Break even on it, walk away. Why do Frenchie when you're selling panels that make 56% margins and you're spending your time on Frenchie?
Because I can't do anything more on the panels. I am plastered on Facebook Marketplace. It's all over. You know what I did actually?
Yeah.
Los Angeles is 3 years ahead of Las Vegas.
Okay.
So I went to LA and I wanted to see, okay, what are people actually selling there? And they're selling marble PVC. So I bought...
What is it? Marble PVC?
It's like for showers and so on. It's super thin. You can get 200 units in, just as big as this,
Yeah.
also cost $44. Resale value in Vegas, $130. So I've been buying some and kind of reselling a little bit on the side. The thing is nice is what I do is I open the garage, I say, come in, take the panels and go. And boom. And the thing about it that's nice too is that I'm running this from home. So while I'm doing an edit or, kind of working around the different schedules, I don't even have to do anything or commute or anything. I just open my garage, sell, and gone. So that's good. I mean, that's what is keeping me afloat and kind of helped me invest in other areas.
So I'm seeing this. This is making money. What's stopping you from making more money in that business?
I have inventory. I have continued to diversify my products to offer more options. I could potentially hire like a virtual assistant to increase my number of posting on Facebook Marketplace and have people automatically feed my information. That could give me even more coverage. But right now I have like 17 posts on Facebook Marketplace right now, selling that.
So there's nothing you could do right now to increase your income.
None on this front.
Why not post in other areas? Because you're in Las Vegas. Why not find a partner in another area within a 3-mile radius? Or sorry, not 3 mile, a 3-hour radius. Find someone else where you could say, hey, I'm going to front the money on this, or we're going to go 50-50 on partners, but I'm going to drive the traffic to you. Or I'm going to get the inventory. You're going to sell it in your area. It basically is a holding facility. Or you just pay someone by the hour or by a day, it's just a flat rate, and say, hey, you're going to get $100 a day. All I need from you, you're going to store my inventory and be available certain hours to sell. And the thing with that is that you could easily audit it because you know how much is getting sent, you know how much they're selling for, and you know how many are going to be left over. So it's not like they could go and steal.
But there needs
stuff.
to be enough demand. The thing, Graham, is I average about $200 to $300 of profit per day on this. But one day I'm profiting $2,000, and another day for 5 days I'm doing pivots.
Yeah.
So that's why right now it's kind of local. I'm kind of in the circle because I'm beating any of my competition locally on prices. Yeah. And that's because I got the right contact too.
How do you expand this? Because I'm just thinking that's a good business.
Good installation, but that's liability on my front.
I would not get into installation because liability insurance, workers' comp. There's so many things on that's going to increase your cost and risk and headache, and you're going to deal with customers saying, that's not quite even. Actually, I don't like it. Can you move that and this and this? No, you do not want to deal with that. But you want to find out how to expand your business because I think you've basically maximized what you could do in Vegas, but you know there's demand. You know this is a good opportunity. How could you expand this to Arizona, parts of California? What could you do so that all of a sudden you're not just serving Vegas, you're serving the United States? What could you do on that? I'm just telling you from my perspective, like you got something here that is making fantastic money that doesn't have a very long lifespan unless you really run this thing. But like the fact that you're now diversifying with the marble things, imagine then going from marble to like something else and then something else and then home decor. And then all of a sudden you've turned yourself into like Ashley furniture where like you've curated the finest materials at a low price that people know. It's like, hey, I'm going to order from this person. I'm saving money on it. They ship to me. Great customer service. I don't know. I see that as like, but listen, maybe I'm focusing too much on the financial side of things and not the enjoyment. But I'm seeing this. It's like you could only lose money for so long before it's like, all right, you got a business here that's making money. And I like the business and I like the product a lot. It makes the room look way more expensive, like high end. Like before then, you can see the cords. It's just like a white wall. I didn't know what to do with it. It looks fantastic now.
And you know what's fantastic? It's managing my side hustle or small business finances the right way. Since I'm opening up about everything, let's dive into the specifics of my business account. When it comes to managing my business banking, You guys already know it, they're a preferred partner on this channel, and it's the one platform that I use for all of my business, Relay. As you can see, here are some of the businesses that I have within Relay that we've been speaking about in this video. But let's dive deeper into the one that might be the most interesting to many of you, my business account for this YouTube channel. This business currently has 6 different accounts. And as you can see, I split them pretty strategically from my business checking, my saving, operating expenses, tax, payroll, profit, and more. I'm following what is referred to as the profit first methodology. And don't worry guys, a video is coming very soon to teach you how to best manage your business finances. But using Relay here, I pretty much have great visibility on my cash flow, on my different transactions. I even have debit cards for each of those accounts if I want to. I can add team members. I'm well integrated with QuickBooks, which I use for bookkeeping. Overall, this kind of been as an all-in-one business banking platforms that really kind of caters to all the needs that I have right now as a small business. If you guys are interested, I invite you guys to check the link in the description below. But now let's get back to how am I gonna pull it off with this YouTube channel.
All right, so now let's go to the YouTube channel. What are you doing now?
Okay, so YouTube, we are going through a full rebrand in some aspects. I just wanna expand, finance action is one component of it, but I wanna expand my kind of coverage, with shorter form content in some aspects, something that's maybe more approachable, more discoverable, So it's kind of going to be a mix of like reactions to some of the best trending videos in the world of finance and just kind of get my 2 cents on it. And also some kind of more educational, kind of expanding on that. My goal is to scale to 2 videos a week. Okay. So I'm going to have to, right now we're kind of bottlenecked at 1 video because of the editing process and so on. The idea is really to shoot and 2025 be it for us. I mean, that's going to be make it or break it, to be honest. Like, that's just the way it has been trending on our side. We've been so fulfilled in some aspects with the feedback that we've gotten from people coming on Finance Action. We have a 92% success rate, which we're very proud of. But we also have to be able to financially sustain it, And yeah, I mean, as you guys may have seen, we've been able to get some sponsors and, like LLC attorney for this video here, which not only I enjoy the product, but I really recommend it to anyone. So I'm really trying to score deals with companies that I contact generally myself first and that I use. That's been kind of sustaining us, but that's kind of the whole idea behind it. I feel like there is a space and there is a place for us. Can we just get through it? What are your thoughts? I mean, you've seen all of those personal finance channels rocket.
Yeah, the thing is that the people that like your videos really like your videos. It's a small audience. That's the issue. Is that if you start expanding, you're going to lose the core audience who right now say, I like you because you're serious. You take people very seriously. You have deep discussions with the people who come on, and they really like you because of that. The problem when you look at that from a business perspective is that that's a tiny percentage. And there's only so much you could expand within that segment. But when I see a losing money on something like that, from a business perspective, it has to stop. You got to stop losing money. Because I'm going to tell you, the alternative, if you want it to stay the same, you're not going to get anything. Right? If things continue at the same trajectory, which is not working from a profitability standpoint, you could only do this for so long unless you just say, hey, I'm making money on the side and the panels and I'm burning it just for the sake of being able to do what I want to do. Which is fine. There are plenty of businesses out there that, hey, these are passion projects. I'm not making money from it. I make my money over here and I burn it over here.
I cannot be like him.
You do have to keep in mind that there is a larger audience for, I think, you being a bit more over the top or a bit more of a twist where it's not so, I got to be very careful with my words here. It's not like bland, if that makes sense. You're very logical is very to the point, numbers oriented, and you throw personal stories into the mix, it just doesn't have as big of a hook. That's what it is, and that's the difference between 10,000 views and 100,000 views. Now, if you want to stay at 10,000 views and slowly build up an audience over time, it's nothing wrong with it, but it's going to be smaller. It's going to be harder to monetize, and you have to find a balance between you and your audience, where it's like, I'm happy with this and I want to stay here, versus how do I? And you're saying maybe reaction videos, whatever works. It doesn't matter to me, but like whatever works for you to sustain what you're doing and be happy with it, like that's what I'm for. That's what I want. Like I'm not trying to get you to do anything you don't want to do or become something that you're not.
So it's been a forever debating question with me is, how do I manage the demand for entertainment that the audience is looking for and the real compassion aspect of being with the person? You know, I can't be in front of a person and say, oh, you suck, you dumbass, and so on. I tried it once, my friend. And I felt absolutely miserable the night off. Miserable. I couldn't live with it. I actually called him and I apologized with him on the phone.
Fantastic. You have to be yourself, though.
But
you have to be congruent with who you are. There's something inside of you that you can let shine. That doesn't have to be something that you don't agree with or don't like. Because I'll tell you, if you act like that, I know you and that's not you, it's going to seem off. It's going to seem wrong, and people are going to hate it because they know that's not you. You have to find a you from within that still shines through on camera. That's all it is. But yeah, people could tell immediately if you're being fake. For some reason online, if anything is off, like I could be filming a video where I think I'm totally fine, and someone will be like, yo, Graham, you need sleep. You seem a little off in this video. What's wrong? And I'm like, how did you know? How did you know that, like, I was filming this on 4 hours of sleep? I just got back in town late last night. I'm really tired. I'm trying to get this video out and doing the best I can. I was like, it was horrible for me to film this video, but I did it because I want to get the. But people pick up on those things. They pick up on subtle little things throughout the video. Any incongruences, they see it.
I feel like we have an excellent community. I think my key is not going to be about changing the way I approach the finance action. I'm hoping, because Caleb is not the only player in the space.
But here's what maybe, okay. Because I got an idea.
All right. I'm listening to the idea.
Okay.
But there is no way I can become in the realm or even close to this aspect of how he's dealing with things. There's no way. Volume and discoverable content, because it's very rare. People now on YouTube with short attention span, when they look at a 50-minute video, it's very rare that people are giving you the chance if they don't recognize you, or if there is no mass support already. You're seeing a video that already has 250,000 views. You're like, oh, that can be nice. That looks good. You see something that has 5,000, 6,000. You're like, maybe not today. And then my shot is gone.
Here's the thing. I think, and I told you this many, many, many months ago when we first met, I said people are just going to compare you to Caleb Hammer, and you cannot win on that. Because when you look...
Well, that's half of my comments.
When you look at that, well, here's what's going to happen. When people compare you to Caleb Hammer, people that don't like Caleb Hammer are going to like you. So automatically, you get a percentage of that, no matter what. Just people don't like me, they're going to go somewhere else. People don't like someone else, they're going to come to me. No matter what, you have that built-in audience. Just because there's demand for something, percentage of people don't like it, go to you. You can't compete with that or operate in the same capacity without having such a big differentiating factor. I think my idea, how could you make yourself different enough just like you can't say you can't compete against Caleb, you got to be the person be like, I can't compete against Roman at that thing. That thing, I think, if it's in the realm of finance, could be going to people or showcasing someone's life out on the field. Like, instead of being in the office sitting down, what if you went to somebody? What if you got to show their life? What if you got to see what it was like for them to be, working $10 an hour, minimum wage, supporting a family of 3, talking them through this, showing the real human connection, that side. Like Soft White Underbelly is a great channel. He does a fantastic job showcasing someone's life where they just talk and it's about them. If you were able to showcase someone's life at different income levels, 50 grand a year, surviving on $50,000 a year in Las Vegas, but at the same time interjecting a few things that they could be cutting back, like show the car. Hey, this car is costing you $800 a month. Yeah, but it gets me to and from work and we really enjoy it. And I have 3 kids and they all fit in the back seat. Let's go and take a look at some other cars that are going to cost you $300 a month. Go and drive them. Let me tell you, the work, probably 5 times harder than one of these. For me, it's like when I make a desk video or I'm just sitting down at the desk, I can make probably 5 of those videos, sorry. And the same time it would take me to make one of those undercover millionaire videos where I go and like do.
Yeah, you've done it. You've done it.
So much work that I think for my time, I'm better off just sitting at the desk making a video. Unless there's something that I really, really, really want to do and put the time into, like I have to be so into it. It's hard for people to compete with that. So I would find something where no one can compete with you.
I like the idea. I think that I will definitely consider it. I have given it some shots already, kind of leveraging the fact that, you know, I'm French American, you know, I'm born in France, and so I've done like an interview going to France, you know, or bring people that come from kind of an international background and speaking about how they see money in their country compared to the United States and kind of this consumption and so on and so forth. I do enjoy the idea. One of the biggest constraints that I would see with that though is, mate, like the Gordon Ramsay or the Kitchen Nightmares or the Bar Rescue and all of that. Dude, those are teams of like tens of people. And it's already, I can tell you, so difficult to have someone sitting on this chair here that not only has a story, that not only has a difficult financial situation, that is also wanting to better themselves, but also to open up publicly. So already having this and coordinating it it's a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
So the aspect of having to do it at the frequency at which it would allow me to grow and getting those kind of gold nuggets, I mean, it's to me, it's crazy.
There are so many people where I bet if you were just to go up being friendly and ask them, hey, are you interested in sharing your story? I would just want to sit down and talk to you about. Like, I think as long as you have a camera, tripods, internet, like a lot of my videos was just me. Like I would do all of that myself. I just bring tripods, 2 cameras, set them up myself, just like you're doing here. And yeah, some of them did not do well and some of them did really well. But like, I'm just trying to think outside the box here of what could you do that's going to separate yourself, that's interesting. And you got, I think you got really the personal brand down with your accent and the glasses. Like you just want to be, it's true, you just want to be memorable for like, you want people to see you and not forget you. And I don't think they forget you. I think if they watch you, they know, oh, that's Romain, which is good. It's like a really good thing that you have these features that people remember that stick with them.
You'll be surprised actually. In April of 2024, I recorded a soft white underbelly type of videos. Right here on this table.
Really?
You will see, guys. When you know, if you are to engage in the YouTube world and so on, sometimes you often doubt yourself. You know, like I know that I've been promising those solo videos on my community for quite a while, and you know, despite some of the confidence that you showcase in front of cameras and so on, it's still the human component that's kind of a little bit kind of doubting. You know, is it something that people are going to want to watch? Is it something that is going to peak? Is it going to ruin my channel? You know?
My point with this is that there's something out there that exists that's not being done that is perfect for you. And you just got to find out what that is. But there's something like guaranteed. Just like 5 years ago, I would not have predicted that like the Caleb Hammer style videos, basically the Dave Ramsey style videos in person would be as big of a hit as it became. I didn't see that coming. Just like when I started, I didn't see that like the sit-down desk videos talking about money would even be a thing. So there's something else that's out there. It's like, I can't believe that is the thing. And that's I think it's got your name on it. You just got to figure out like what that thing is. Or you could be totally fine just doing this. Hey, if it breaks even next year, if we make $1,000 a month, fantastic. If we make $2,000 a month, fantastic. And maybe you just grow this over time. Maybe it's a slow burn. So I don't want to discourage you from that. But if you're starting to get to the point where you're like, I don't see progress, what I'm doing isn't working, you got to make a change. So that's where the change has to occur. If what you're doing is not getting you the results that you want within a certain time frame.
What about just a natural, candid conversation with someone that actually wants to better themselves in some ways? Does just normality pays in the long run?
No,
Don't you think?
Unfortunately not. Like I like to think about, I'm a middle person. I really don't have extreme beliefs. I don't really give too much attention to politics. I really for me, I'm a middle. But when you look at the social media landscape, you also have to be a realist and just say like, hey, extremes get pushed because they're controversial, people watch them, and the people that do watch them are so dedicated. The people in the middle, they're the most quiet people out there. They're the ones that are generally the most passive about what they consume. They don't comment, they don't like, they don't subscribe. They're normal people. But the extremes are the ones who really are like, those are the loyal, diehard, ride or die sort of people that get pushed because that's what algorithms are pushing. So like when I look at social media, I tend to think, okay, here's what I like, but this is getting pushed. This is what people care about. If I don't talk about these things or go in this direction from a business perspective, I'm limiting myself. Do I want to limit myself? Sure. Some topics, I don't care. I'll limit myself. A lot of the credit card videos are like that, where I know they'll do really bad up front, but you know what? Over a year, there's enough people that just click on it that, a few hundred views a day, whatever, over years adds up. It's fine. You just have to look at it and make the evaluation because, it's one thing when you're doing it for fun as a hobby. It's another thing when you do it intentionally to grow. And you have to be strategic about it, or decide if you don't want to be strategic about it, then all of this doesn't matter, and you just follow your heart. You follow what works for you, and but it's going to limit growth.
Do
so
you
there's going to be a
think
downside to that.
It would be good for me to look at potentially any forms of investors that give me the financial security for, not having to deplete into my capital?
No, because that's not going to change anything. Like to me, this is
it
not
gives
a
me
problem.
time.
This isn't time for what? What's time going to change?
I mean, I'm hoping that potentially we're able to find our audience in some aspects. I mean, 90% of my views are from returning viewers. That's the thing, is that once I'm able to attract an audience, generally they stick with me. Did I make a mistake quitting my W-2?
No.
No way.
I don't think so.
Wow.
No.
I thought you would have told me yes.
No. The reason I say that is because you're good with money. You have the savings. You're not going to be homeless. You have the capability to very easily pick up another $150,000 job.
Yes.
So I think if you're going to take a risk for a passion, 100%. I think you're in a better position than most people to do that. Most people would love to just, I want to take a year to try this out. I think you doing this, you're never going to have regrets.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. So I think you'll look back at this 30 years from now and say it's the best decision of your life. I don't think, yeah, honestly. And usually I'm like very anti that, but your finances are good enough. You're good enough with money. You're smart. The downside is you miss out on some money. But when you look at your life, what's some money? You're not going to take that with you when you die. And you get to live your life and do what you want on your terms. I think it's really important. So I'm for it. In this case, now if you said, hey, I'm going into debt to do this, I'm maxing out my credit cards, then I'd be like, dude, that's stupid. Don't do that. You're in a position now, it's not stupid. You could float this with other opportunities. I don't think it's a bad thing. I support that. But I do think at a certain point, you have to look objectively and say, is what I'm doing working? How can I switch it up? How can I be strategic about it for the sake of just continuing it? Because otherwise, like I said, if the alternative is I'm just going to stop posting, that's not good for anybody. Like, it's better for you to keep posting and make this work.
Excellent, Graham.
Yeah, I would not take investors. To me, this is not a problem money can solve. If this were a money problem, then every channel with money would be a success, and it's not. Money is, in my opinion, the least important aspect when it comes to a YouTube channel. I think people really, at this point in YouTube, value authenticity, being relatable, being real, being vulnerable, not being afraid to express their thoughts, which oddly enough, the bigger you get, the harder it is to express your thoughts, because now all of a sudden you have so many people watching you that it becomes divisive if you say one thing. It's like you don't want to alienate. So when you're small is the best time that you can be completely open, vulnerable, because you're not going to have that like pushback if you say like the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean, are you experiencing that?
I've always been very intentional, very, very careful what I say. But now I realize that I say one like thing that could be taken out of context. But I'm just saying you get to a point eventually where like people start spreading things that are not true, and it gets frustrating. But when you're small enough, you could push the envelope a little more without the risk. But I've always been very careful about what I say. Just because it's like, I like to keep it on the subject of finance. I don't really pick sides when it comes to a lot of things. I try not to swear in videos because, I want to be family friendly. I just want people to save money. And their political affiliation has very little to do with like, hey, can you budget? Can you increase your income? How could you invest consistently? And plus I'm not bothered by, too much.
Now that we transition outside of the YouTube channel, which we'll see how this goes, guys. And for my avid supporters, I'm looking for you in the comments. Show us some love. All right. But outside of that, something that and I know you stand on it when you think about real estate investment. You don't like out-of-state real estate investments. You like to invest locally for the most part. The questions that I've always kind of wanted to ask you, I've been watching your videos for a while as well, is when you think about the opportunities that exist, let's say in the state of like Wisconsin of the world, or, the Ohio, where you're buying a house that's kind of like $60,000, $70,000, you invest 10, 15 grand, and boom, you put a tenant at $1,100, $1,300. Those are crazy opportunities from a financial standpoint. But what do you think on it? Because I've been looking into some of those deals to maybe relocate some of my capital because right now I'm renting in Vegas. I mean, the value proposition here to me hasn't panned out yet. I'm still a renter. Do I regret not buying a house when I moved to the US 10 years ago? Yes, let's be honest. I mean, don't we all in some aspects? But what is your stand on it? If you had today $100,000 to invest in real estate, where would you invest it?
I wouldn't right now. There's a reason. There's a reason those houses are $60,000, $70,000. There's a reason why they're renting for $1,000 a month on a place that's $70,000. There's no such thing as free money. Like that. That's a free money deal. Free money doesn't exist. Every investor has priced in risk to a property. The only way you can make money in real estate right now is to spend a long time finding something that's undervalued and then fixing it up. You really have to have an eye for that thing. You have to know that market inside and out to discover that one property that's worth it to buy. Like I'll give you an example. When I was looking in Los Angeles, I would spend sometimes more than a year. And I was full-time as a real estate agent. I got the first look at every property that comes on the market. I would see all the off-market deals. And I did this professionally. This is how I made my money. And it would still take me a year to find a deal where I thought, that's a no-brainer. I know I'm making money on it. When I buy real estate, I have to be so confident that I'm not going to lose, that I know that's it. It would take me a year. My duplex took, I think it was 6, 7, 8 months of me looking nonstop in a small zip code. One zip code. And I would see everything for 6 months within a small, I'm talking like not even a mile radius. And that's what I had isolated from all of Los Angeles, this one little area that I wanted to buy into. 6 months to find that. And when it did come up, I was the first person to call on it. I was the first person to see it. I got an offer in an hour later, got it accepted that same night before an offer came in that was like 75 grand higher than mine. So I got my, because I knew that was a sure thing. I'm not saying those deals don't exist today, but when you're finding a place that's been listed on the market, you have a real estate fever right now that I've never seen to this degree where people are clamoring to buy properties that I have a hard time seeing the upside unless you're looking as an owner user to live in it long term. Then I think, okay, fine. Then it makes sense. Buy the property. You're living in there for 12 years, 15 years, whatever. Okay, it may be cheaper than renting at that point. But what I'm seeing for an investment in the short term, I haven't seen any deals. And not to say they don't exist, but the deals that do, you really have such an eye. And I think when you're looking out of state, that makes it so much harder because then you're relying on someone else to be your eyes and ears. And they're not going to care about it the same way that you do. Like when I'm looking at deals for myself, I am meticulous about this is what I want. I know precisely the area. I know every street. I know every house. I know that's a good deal. So out of state just makes it incredibly harder. It's not to say you can't find a $70,000 house, get $1,000 a month profit, $400 a month after expenses, and you get a good cash on cash return. But there's a reason why it's 70 grand.
That's fair. So if let's say now you have $100,000, everything else on your accounts, your retirement is good, your checking accounts, emergency fund, your stock investment are pretty decent. You have $100,000. What do you do?
I think I'm in such a place now where I just be index funding it.
Index fund?
Yeah. I probably do, a certain percentage U.S. stocks, certain percentage international, a small percentage in cryptocurrency, a small percent, a percentage amount, by the way, where if it goes to zero, you could write that off and not be devastated by it. That's probably, I would just do a balanced portfolio and focus on increasing income and cutting expenses. That's probably what I do. But I'm also I'm very conservative when it comes to my money, my investments. I really have a thing against losing. I'm going to say it. I lost money at blackjack, like $200. And I still think of it. $200. I still think of it. And I think, okay, I could have bought this and this and this. And, I could have gone out to dinner here and I didn't do it. I could have invested in this and now it would have been worth X. It's all of that over $200. I don't like losing money. So I prefer to take a safer approach with a lot of things. Hinders me for sure. But I like limiting upside for the sake of just limiting downside. That's just me. So same thing when I buy real estate. I only buy it if I'm sure I'm not taking a risk on it. I'm sure I'm going to make money on it. Investments, I'm sure I'm not going to lose money on it over the next 20 years. I might lose money in the short term, but hey, 20 years from now, I'm very confident that I'm at least going to be break even or positive. So that's how I look at it.
That's fair. And I think, by the time this video release, man, it's going to be end of this year. Crypto is going to be all over the place. I myself have some position in blue chip, BTC, Ethereum. What is your stand on altcoins? Because I've always been so scared. I got burned no
gambling.
Tomorrow on freaking Dogecoin shit and all that crap.
It's all gambling. So I don't have an issue with it. As long as you're not investing an amount where it'll impact your finances going forward. And you have to be willing to basically, if you invest in an altcoin, assume you could lose 90 to 90% of your money. And if you're okay with that and you want to take the risk for the upside, I don't care. I have nothing against it. But understand it's gambling. And some people could argue, well, you could play momentum and this and that. Sure. But there's so much with that that's outside of your control, and more people than not will lose. So if you go into it thinking, hey, I got a small chance at making money, I got a big chance of losing, but I'm okay with that risk reward, I'm fine. But just if you're ever up a life-changing amount of money, I think it's good to take profits. And if you invest something where you're losing sleep at night or you're panicking, you've overinvested. Should be an amount where it's like, all right, it's down 50%. I don't care. Maybe it sucks, but like, it's not going to be something that's devastating.
So, I want to also ask you another question for the people that come to the show. What do you think today for middle-class America, that's kind of having maybe a W-2 on the side and wants to enhance their income? What have you found to be a good way for people to make an extra dollar or make it just a little bit further? Is it saving as much as you can on a W-2, invest in stocks and just be passive? Is it, get active into kind of micro entrepreneurial, like, Airbnb arbitrage, or like the tour of the world, or like flipping stuff on Facebook Marketplace and so on? What do you think, what would you say to maybe middle class that's just trying to do better?
Yeah, the easiest one is always cutting expenses. Like, it's so much easier to cut $10 than it is to make an extra $10. Because even if you make an extra 10, you actually got to make an extra 13 to 15 with tax to keep the 10. So it's way easier. Like, again, you'll make way more cutting than you will making more. But assuming you've cut everything you can, like you're down to the bare minimum, the essentials. I'm always then a fan of seeing how you could just easily make more money or utilize, what you have already. And I think a good one, let's just say renting out a spare bedroom. It's usually pretty simple to do. Most people have a spare room in their house. Is that worth $500-$600 a month? That's pretty good. As long as you vet the person carefully, you get along with them. You don't get like a wacko roommate. That could be a great way to make an extra $500,000 a month, depending on like where you live. Storage is another one. People need storage. If you have a garage that just has, it's not being utilized. Imagine maybe you park a car in the garage, but you could easily park it on the street or in the driveway. You could probably rent out a garage for like $500 or $300 a month, maybe $200 a month, depending on the area. So like between renting out a garage and a room, maybe that, pays for your car payment, car insurance, food, the things that, and now you're making more using less. Beyond that, it's then you'll probably get the highest return working harder in your job, maybe taking on more hours there, maybe taking on more responsibility, trying to work towards something on there. If you've maximized what you could do at your current place, might be worth the risk looking at switching jobs, learning a new skill. Obviously, balance that with the job market where you don't want to like be the first one to join a company and then they have mass layoffs. And it's like, well, I'm out. I should have stayed at my old job. You want to balance that, but increasing income after that. The side hustles, I think, can work, but short term, if you're just about like, hey, I want to guarantee that I'm getting paid for my time, you got to like, take on a part-time job or something like that. Because any short-term side hustle, there's a curve where it's like you're not going to make any money. You could be working really hard and get nowhere, or like make like $1 an hour by the time you put like months worth of work into it. So short-term is usually better. Just get the guaranteed income for your time. And if you run a side hustle, make sure it's something you really enjoy doing. Like for me, for a while, it was YouTube. Just making YouTube videos at night. It was my side hustle. Didn't expect to make money from it. I just loved doing it. And the fact that it would make money, in the beginning, it was making like, 20 cents to maybe like $1 a day. And I was just like, hey, at the end of the month, it's a free sushi dinner. And go all you could eat sushi, and it's paid for every month for doing something that I would have done anyway. And it was like, hey, my phone bill's paid. I get a free phone now. I got free groceries. I got free car because I would have done it regardless. And then as that expanded, and it's like, hey, I get free everything because I would be doing this if I made zero or if I make $1 million a month. I'd be doing this. So now everything is free for doing what I would be doing anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you stay authentic. I'm doing everything I can to stay authentic. The channel is still in its growth, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Man, I think thank you so much, Graham, for your precious advice and some of your ideas. I think we'll see how I can incorporate that and still staying the person that I am and just authentic to it.
I'm worried people are going to say that I'm too hard on you and that I was that I'm trying to change you to be mean to people, and I'm not. I say all of this because I care. If I didn't care, I wouldn't even be here in the first place. I wouldn't give you this sort of attention if I just didn't think you had the potential to make something really big out of this. I wouldn't even be here. So like just the fact
We're
that
early.
yeah, just the fact that I care so much is where this is all coming from, because I want you to succeed at this. I want you to do really well. I don't want you to butt heads or compete with similar channels. I don't want you to become like them, but you got to find where you stand to get the biggest audience possible so that this is sustainable. And sometimes I come across maybe a little brash in doing so, but I would hope that maybe some of that's a bit tongue-in-cheek, that I'm playing it up for a camera, because I know the more animated I am, the more you guys are going to watch, and hopefully the better this video does as a result of that, which means the more ad revenue you make, and we get rid of those parentheses. Like in person, I maybe 50% like more chill in person.
Yeah.
So like, but if I could get rid of those parentheses, like
Yes.
if I could help doing that, be a little more animated on the channel, get people upset so that they comment, and maybe the more people come, the more people dislike me on this video, the better you're going to do. So I don't care. I want you to do well. I want this video to do well. If you're watching and you haven't done it already, hit the like button, subscribe. If you comment on the video, like all of those things are indicators to YouTube that this is a video to get pushed. Even better, what really works for YouTube, go and click share. Send this video to somebody else. And if they watch it, like it's going to be a major bullish signal for your channel. Like, because the share feature is really important for YouTube, that if someone's like, oh, dude, you got to see this, share, send it to Jack, send it to, someone else.
Help us out, guys.
Yeah, like all of those things, what else could, if you really care about Roman's channel, like you want to support him, honestly, those things, watching the video all the way through is really important. Commenting, really important. Maybe buy some panels from him.
No, Frenchie's better. They could get it at home. It's easier.
All right.
No, but,
That's it. So I wish you all the best, man. If there's anything I can help you with, let me know. But I want you to find your blue ocean. That's what you got to find. You got to find your blue ocean that's different from everybody else. And I want you to get to a point where no one is comparing you to anyone else, because you are Roman.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That's
we'll
what I
wrap
want.
up with that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Graham, for coming. Thank you guys for following along through this very atypical video. I hope you like it. I see you guys in the next video. Thank you again, Nate, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.